Hi there, this is Chris, Chapping the Cup Motor Legends. Today I'm going to talk to you about a new suit from Rukka. It's a suit called the Rimo-R. Potentially, we really like the Rimo-R. It's a two-layer Gore-Tex laminated adventure suit, and it's got pretty much all the bells and whistles that a rider might want, with one key exception. It does not come as standard with armour in the knees, in the hips, in the elbows, in the shoulders and in the back. Now, we kind of know why Rukka has done this, but we don't think it's the right thing to do with a suit like this. Let me explain. The logic is that lots of riders will wear separate body armour beneath this suit. Now, it's true, if you're a serious off-road rider, you might take this approach because the risks of landing on rocks, on tree stumps and wooden posts are that much greater. So this precaution, in other words, separately worn armour, makes perfect sense because off-road abrasion resistance doesn't really count for a lot. What we need is protection against impacts, and a separately worn body vest will ensure that the armour will always sit in the correct place on the body, so against the elbow, the right place on the shoulder and so on. And Rukka probably has in mind, with the Rimo-R, probably have in mind their RPS AFT shirt. But if you're riding in such arduous conditions, building up a sweat, then the last thing you want to be wearing is a jacket or a pant with a membrane. And that's because such garments don't allow you to breathe well enough to allow the sweat to move effectively away from the body, whilst the membrane will also stop the oncoming cooler air reaching you. Now, in such circumstances, in such conditions, what you want to be doing is wearing something with a removable membrane, or perhaps with no membrane at all. So in terms of the Rukka firmament, we'll be talking about their brand new suit that's coming through soon called the Trek R. From Held, that would be a suit called the Crazy Evo. Halvarsons has a couple of offerings. They have their Mora matching with the Malung pant, or the Mervik jacket, which matches with a pant called the Meertalk pant. Of course, the other option is to wear something, riding something that has no membrane at all. So we're thinking about something like the Klim Marrakesh or maybe the Klim Baja S4, where you just carry a set of Scots to go over the top if it did rain. And so we think that Rukka has just missed the mark by supplying the Rimo-R without protectors. It is, in essence, the wrong tool for that particular treatment. But the good news is that when you fill the internal pockets with the appropriate D3O armour, the Rimo-R stacks up as a very creditable offering. Thus equipped, it becomes a traditional two-layer laminated adventure suit. So a suit like, for example, the Klim Carlsbad or the Halvarsen Sunni. In other words, it's going to be the perfect adventure suit for adventure riders who spend 95% of their time on the road. And indeed, according to BMW, 95% of GS riders only ride on the road. And so for the rest of this review, we're going to concentrate on the merits of the Rimo-R as a road-oriented laminated adventure suit, a role in which, by the way, we think it excels. So let's talk first about the jacket, and then we'll go on and discuss the pant. The Rimo-R certainly looks the part. It's a classic adventure style jacket, by which we mean it sits a little bit longer. That's the way an adventure jacket is normally expected to be. You've got these two lower billow pockets so you can put loads of stuff in there, and you've got this adjuster on the waist. Again, normally a feature of an adventure jacket. The main fabric on the Rimo-R is beautifully soft. It's got an almost peach skin finish to it. Now, traditionally, laminated jackets have not been that nice to wear, and that's a result of the stiffness that comes when you take the membrane and you bond it to the inside of the outer fabric. But I can promise you there's no such feeling of discomfort with the Rimo-R. It's as comfortable as any laminated jacket I have ever come across. Now, on the shoulders and the elbows, you get an extra layer of 500 denier cordura. There are, it has to be said, probably more robust jackets on the market. But jackets like this, in other words, adventure jackets, have to tread a fine line because you expect an adventure jacket to be light enough and easy enough to wear in the hottest weather. And you cannot have a jacket that's going to work if you're riding across the Sahara Desert, if you're using the thickest and heaviest materials. Obviously, on an adventure jacket, we would expect good venting. And on this score, Rukka has pulled out all of the stops. We've got these two chest vents here. We've got vents that run down the biceps. We've got more vents that run down the forearms. We've got an exhaust vent, a big zipped exhaust vent across the back. And we have what has become a Rukka trademark. We have full-length zips up the flanks that also allow air to come in, roll around the body and exhaust. If this jacket didn't have this huge R on the back of it, you'd think it was a Klim. The jacket has plenty of storage. You get two billow pockets, I've mentioned these already, two billow pockets at the bottom of the jacket. They're protected with zips and storm flaps. You get this ID pocket at the end of the left sleeve, and on the back of the jacket you get a huge map pocket. Inside the jacket you get a couple of Napoleon pockets. Now, I've already mentioned the adjusters at the waist, but what I haven't mentioned is that they are attached to an elastic band at the back, so they really do cinch the jacket really rather nicely. You get adjusters, volume adjusters here on the biceps and the forearms, and the theory of those is that if you're wearing something underneath in cold weather, you'll want to create a little bit more volume in the sleeves, but in the summer when you've got nothing underneath, you might want to tighten this, put less volume in there to stop the jacket arms flapping about. You get these Velcro flaps at the hem of the jacket, again to enable you to cinch it, just to make the jacket look a little bit neater. You can also use those full-length vents that I've mentioned before, that go up the flanks. By undoing those, you can allow the jacket to splay a little so that it doesn't make the jacket tight, so that it doesn't push up into the neck when you sit on the bike. The vents here on the forearms, if you open those, that also allows you to open the sleeve so you can get a thicker glove with a cuff inside the sleeve, which of course is where you want the sleeve of or the cuff of a glove to go in wet weather. Now, as always with Rukka, you get lots of nice detailing. So you get high-vis banding and high-vis branding. You get a neoprene collar. You've got a storm flap down the front of the jacket. That's particularly important with a jacket where you might be going off-road, because zips do not stand up well to all the mud and dirt that is going to be splaying the jacket or covering the jacket in bad weather. So a storm flap is really quite necessary in an off-road jacket. You've got stretch panels here under the arms and down the side of the jacket, and of course you've got a full-length connecting zip, so you can connect this jacket to its matching pant, or indeed to any Rukka matching pant, or indeed a Halvarsens pant. Now, all of this is good stuff, but a couple of things. You get no thermal component, and as discussed, there's no armour as standard. The lack of a thermal component is no issue for us, and that's because most of the thermal liners that are supplied with jackets, even with Rukka jackets, are pretty poor quality, and we would always prefer to provide our own thermal layer. That might be something in merino, it might be something down, or in extremis it might be something electric. If you then add the armour to the jacket, you're going to be in for an extra £170. And unfortunately, nobody else's D3O will fit into a Rukka jacket, because Rukka have D3O made to their own spec. It's much larger than most people's armour, so I think it's much better than most people's armour, but you can't just take your D3O out of another jacket. So if you add the price, the £170, onto the price of the bare Rimo-R jacket, you're up to a figure of £770. Now, that's not cheap, but personally we think that's quite good value, given the reassurance of Rukka quality, given the reassurance of Gore-Tex, and given the reassurance of a 6-year warranty. Of course, you could spend less on a laminated jacket, on a laminated adventure jacket, but I think you'd find it difficult to match the Rimo-R spec for this kind of money. Pretty much everything we said about the jacket applies equally well to the pant. That's to say that it's a 2-layer Gore-Tex laminated construction, so these pants are going to be pretty much as waterproof as any pants that you'll ever buy. But that having been said, they're not going to be quite so good off-road, which is what we mentioned about the jacket. You get the same basic construction as you do with the jacket. So you get, for example, these 500 denier Cordura panels here on the hips and on the knees for a little bit of extra abrasion resistance. You've got these incoming vents on the front of the thighs and corresponding exhaust vents at the back of the thighs. You've got 2 upper pockets here that are protected with waterproof zips, or they look like waterproof zips. They're probably technically just water resistant zips. You've got these 2 cargo pockets here if you want to stuff other provisions in there as you're riding along. You've got an elasticated waistband, but what we like about this one, and again it's not uncommon on Rukka pants, is it's 2-way. So it's much better than having a strap that's just on one side. It enables you to do the pants up in a much more even way. You've got reflective branding here on the pockets. There's some more reflective banding at the back of the legs. You've got a provision for braces, for Rukka's defense braces, but they do not come as standard. However, if we were putting armour in these pants, then certainly we would want to suspend them with braces. We just like riding with braces. We think it's a more comfortable way to ride. You've clearly got a full length connecting zip in the pant that's going to allow you to connect this to the Rimo-R jacket or indeed to any Rukka jacket. You also get, with the Rimo-R pant, you get leather down the inside of the legs. Now, you don't get that on every Rukka pant, but the theory here is this is an adventure suit. You're going to potentially be riding an adventure bike that might have a high exhaust. So the leather panels are going to stop the hot exhaust coming into contact with the suit, because when a hot exhaust comes into contact with a suit like this, it melts it. It never ends well. You also have the leather patches for another reason, which is that they expect that on an adventure bike there will be times when you're stood on the pegs, you're riding along stood up, and you want a little bit of extra purchase, a little bit of extra grip on the tank. And again, that's what these leather panels help with. The Rimo-R pants also have a system that Rukka calls their air cushion system, and that comprises of little uncrushable 3D perforated pipes that run around the seat area. Now, on one level, they just make the pants a little bit more comfortable, but really the reason they are there is that it puts a little gap between, and excuse my language, or excuse my French, but it puts a little bit of extra space between your sweaty bum and the seat. And what that does, it allows your sweat to escape more easily. So in essence, it's going to keep your butt drier. Not particular to this trouser, it's a feature that Rukka use across all of their pants. Other people don't use it, but it does work. Now, as with the jacket, the Rimo-R pant comes with no thermal provision and comes with no protectors. In terms of staying warm, you can use a merino legging, or something like Rukka's own Downax pant would be perfect. As per the jacket, the theory is that you're going to wear separate armour. So what that is going to mean in the context of these trousers is a pair of those armoured underpants that have hip protectors built into them. For the knees, you would either wear a knee sock or some kind of knee brace. Unfortunately, Rukka offers none of these, although plenty of other manufacturers out there do. Rukka has tailored the pant, again, as you might expect, with a very wide leg, so they're going to go over those braces or over a big pair of off-road boots. But also the pants come with long zips that come all the way up to the knee, so they're going to open really wide. So there's pretty much no boot, even one of those big plastic Alpine-style off-road jobs, there's pretty much no boot that you won't be able to wear under the leg of these trousers. Now, in terms of cost, the pants come in at a pretty reasonable £490 for a Gore-Tex laminated outfit or Gore-Tex laminated pant with a 6-year warranty. We think that's pretty reasonable. When you add armour, that's going to come up to £600. Overall, we still don't think that's bad given what these pants deliver. As I said at the beginning, we really like the Rimo-R, but we like it mostly as an adventure suit for the person who spends most of their time riding their adventure bike on the road. The suit looks right, it's got all the features that you might expect, and it's supremely comfortable. But we can only really take it seriously as a suit that comes equipped with all of the armour. Now, if you add the armour, jacket and pants, put it all together, you'd be looking at a total cost of about £1,350, plus whatever you needed to add to stay warm. Now, for us, that cost seems about right. And if you want a well-vented, laminated adventure suit, then I think the Rukka Rimo-R should be on your list. But you will need to try it on. And my reasoning is that the trousers are quite baggy, quite adventure in terms of their styling. Now, that's going to work well on some people, but on others, it's going to look, or they are going to look a little bit Charlie Chaplin. But finally, there's another possibility with the Rimo-R suit, as there was indeed with its predecessor. If you want to wear a laminated, waterproof suit over your work clothes, say you're a commuter, then the adjustability in the jacket, the softness of the fabric and the bagginess of the pants might make this a suit that's going to work really well. If you'd like to see more adventure suits, more laminated suits or more Rukka suits, then visit the website motorlegends.com. If you want to learn more about the Rimo-R specifically, then if you click on one of the links on the screen, sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're down there, that will take you directly to the correct page on the website. Now, when you're there, you can check out the spec in more detail, you can check availability, and obviously if you want to buy the suit, you can do that there and then. When you do buy from us, we try to make the process as simple, straightforward and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no delivery charge on any item that you buy from us, or rather any item of protective wear that you buy from us. Returns are totally free, and what's more, we give you a full 12 months in which to decide whether you do want to return something to us. we have the best price promise in the business. Now, John Lewis was rightly famed for its never knowingly undersold price promise. We actually go one stage better. If you can find anybody selling anything that we sell at a price that is lower than ours, we will beat that competitor's price by a full 10%. Now, there are a few terms and conditions attached to what we call our price beat. Nothing particularly onerous, but if you are going to price beat us, then I suggest you go over to the website and check out what those terms and conditions are. If in the future you'd like to see bulletins from us about new products, then if you go to the website, the top of every page there's a piece of script that says newsletter sign up. Click on that, within seconds you'll be in business, and in future you'll receive our email bulletins. If, however, you prefer to get your information videographically, that is to say in this form, we'd be simply delighted if you want to become a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking on the button below. Finally, I'd like to make a play for our fabulous little shop here at Motor Legends. We're based about a mile from the centre of Guildford, about a mile from the railway station, and as I say, the shop is small. It's got a small footprint, but it's attached to our warehouse where we have more than £3 million worth of stock arranged over 3 floors. And technically, that makes this the second largest motorcycle apparel store in the UK. But we'd like to think that we are far more than just the amount of merchandise we have here in the building. We're all about service, we're all about personal fitting. And if you want to check us out, visit Trustpilot. We have the highest 5-star ranking in the business. And when you come to see us, we'll serve you only the finest Italian illy coffee, or we'll serve you proper Yorkshire tea in a proper teapot. And who knows, if you're lucky, you might even get to sample one of our delicious motorcycle-shaped shortbread biscuits. Anyway, this has been Chris. I hope to talk to you again soon.